Hi there, welcome to Speaking to Students. I'm Johnny Jenkins, and on this series we meet remarkable students who do extra stuff alongside their degree, and we've met so many brilliant people throughout this series so far. There's still some more to go, so we're going to say hello now to Baxter, who's a second year law student at Durham, doing loads of stuff in terms of entrepreneurship, public speaking, working to combat loneliness. There's so much for us to get through. Hi Lewis, it's great to see you today. Let's talk first a little bit about your degree. Law, is that something you've always been interested in?
Yeah, it's been a subject I've thought about studying for a number of years when I was growing up, going through high school. I sort of like arguing, like debating. That's what I've always been better at than sciences or maths. So yeah, I suppose it was a natural fit. But also, I suppose with a law degree, it gives you that options to try different things out, find which area of law you might want to go in, or if indeed it is law. There's obviously lots of other sectors out there that a law degree will stand me in good stead for.
It's one of those degrees, Lewis, that sounds quite daunting. Like when I meet someone who studies law, I think, wow, this person must be clever. Is it quite hard?
You have to be good at time management. You have to be, good at giving yourself a break and looking after yourself, because it can be quite intense at times. Certain points of the year are particularly more challenging than others. But I suppose, you get that work-life balance right. You get the work done when it's due, and it's okay. And it all depends on the module, I suppose, with the law degree. Some of them are fabulous. Some of them you really enjoy. Others a little bit more difficult to get through.
Well, brilliant, Lewis. That's great to hear. And as always on this series, we're far more interested in the extra stuff you do alongside their degree. And there's plenty of it with you. And I suppose the theme is sort of social entrepreneurship, starting a venture, but looking out for people as well. Is that something that you've always had an interest in?
Yeah, with supporting sort of good causes, getting involved in the third sector, the charity sector, is something I've done since I've been about 18. I had a personal battle with mental health in my sort of mid-teens, 16, 17. I suppose that gave me that lived experience, that personal vested interest in wanting to get involved in these good causes. So the sort of stuff that I do is mental health, well-being, looking at building communities. That's the sort of area of expertise or of interest that I have. But yeah, it's always been something I've been really, really interested in, and a lot of the projects I've led over the last few years have been sort of in that space.
We've known each other for quite a while, and you've always been very open talking about mental health and some struggles you have been through and how to help other people through theirs. Now, a lot of people have trouble, and serious trouble sometimes, with their mental health, but don't choose to talk about it, don't choose to help others and share their experiences. But that really sort of shapes a lot of what you do.
Yeah, speaking up is the hardest thing at times, and there is not a one-size-fits-all policy. Some are much more forthcoming, much more transparent and open, but I certainly wasn't when I was suffering from depression for a number of months. It took me time to build up that confidence, that courage to speak up about my mental health, and I'd encourage other people to do the same and take their own time to come to terms with the challenges that they're facing, especially at the moment. But yeah, it's still a very, very key driver of the work I do right now, and we all are impacted by mental health, and I think it positively shapes the way that we lead our day-to-day lives.
Yeah, I was interviewing someone once, and they said to me, we've all got mental health in the same way we've all got physical health. And whilst I cared about the issue, that made so much sense to me. It's not 1 in 4 people have mental health or mental health issues. It's every single one of us at some point, isn't it? And as you say, this has shaped all of the projects you've done. Do you remember the first sort of entrepreneurship project you did? You said you were about 18.
Yeah, about 18. Just before I joined Durham a couple of years ago, we sort of did the local village, the local area that I live in Lancashire. We thought we'd put on a mental health awareness event, and it was quite a simple concept. It was during the day we invited lots of local and regional charities to one venue under one roof. We had about 1,500 people that came throughout the day, and it was that ability just to access support, to see what is available in their area, because that's one of the challenges that I think lots lots of people face, which is, I know I've identified that I've got a mental health struggle, but where do I actually access support? What works for me and my circumstances? So that was a really nice day event. And in the evening, we did a bit of a fundraiser. We raised about £10,000 and we distributed that to local small grassroots charities in our area. And it's been great to follow their progress over the last few years, going from strength to strength.
That's amazing, and for your first thing that you're involved in, the sort of numbers there are brilliant. And the project you're working on at the moment is called Hullo, and you set it up in lockdown, didn't you? And really, it's just about giving people an opportunity to have a chat.
Absolutely, as simple as that. We launched the Chit Chat project in late March of 2020, and it was a nice opportunity to see how this sort of organisation, this type of project would work. It was amazing to see the amount of people that wanted to sign up to volunteer, to get involved in such a positive, feel-good project. But it was also really humbling to see people reaching out and accessing support and wanting a chat. Since we've started, we've taken thousands of calls now since March 2020. We're not a year old, obviously 2021 now, hoping for a much better year in lots of different ways than last. But this year it's all about building upon those foundations, growing that network of volunteers across the UK, forming more partnerships with universities, with other third sectors, with corporates, and just seeing what we can do in this landscape. But as you say, yes, it's just all about encouraging people to have a chat.
Is that quite, it's a big project to run. Is that quite challenging to do alongside the law degree?
Fortunately, we attracted some funding sort of last year in 2020 that allowed us to bring in some staff. So we have a full-time member of staff, Abby, who is absolutely fantastic, runs day-to-day operations, and we have Mika as well, who coordinates our volunteers and recruits our new volunteers. So it's great to have that. But myself and Matty, who set up the project last year, we volunteer our time for Hullo, and we also are doing full-time degrees on the side. But I touched upon it earlier, it's about that time management. It's about, getting that degree done, getting that stuff done that you need in the day, and then you find some time for these other projects. You are the same. Lots of people you've spoken to are the same. And I actually think, touching on well-being, it's really important to do stuff outside of your degree, because that is not the be-all and end-all. It is not all about the degree that you come out with. It's about the other things that you can help enrich you and enrich your communities as well.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. Not only is it good fun to do extra stuff, but also, looking ahead for a lot of people to employment prospects, often the reason they get the job they want in the long run is because of all the other stuff they did, all the extra bits, not the degree itself. And Lewis, it's pretty clear to me, and it's pretty clear to those watching, that you're a confident public speaker. It's something you feel quite comfortable doing, and you've done quite a lot over the years of public speaking, haven't you?
Yes, building upon the first-hand experience with my mental health struggles has been great to have an opportunity to share a platform with other people that have had similar experiences, but also lead workshops and speak on my own at different places. So I've spoken at FTSE companies, law firms, financial services, professional services, universities, but also more recently I've done quite a lot of work in my region of the Northwest, looking at young people and disadvantaged people. I had a great upbringing from my family, but the area that I lived in was a really socially disadvantaged area with lots and lots of difficulties, especially with the pandemic. So I've done a lot of work in schools and sort of projects and community groups in my area. But yeah, public speaking I think is always going to be a cause close to my heart.
And you've done a TED Talk, haven't you? 2,
actually. We did one in 2019, and I did another one virtually in 2020, which was a little bit surreal, not quite the same as the in-life one, but both were great opportunities. One was looking at mental health and where do we go from here? How do we build on this awareness-raising culture that we've created, but actually see impact, see changes to those harrowing statistics often in the space? And my second one was looking more about the pandemic and how young people and the social entrepreneurship can actually play a key part in tackling some of the inequalities, the challenges that have been exacerbated by the pandemic. So great opportunity, and if you ever get offered the opportunity to do one, I strongly advise you do. It's a great thing to do.
The pandemic has, been devastating in so many ways. But as we look ahead to the next sort of 6 months to a year, and we start to see the light at the end of a tunnel, we begin to rebuild, don't we? Not just to get back to where we were, but rebuild the country, the systems, our structures into a better way. I suppose you would say that in this rebuild we're going to have over the course of the next year or so, mental health and mental health provisions really needs to be up the top, doesn't it?
It does, and in a lot of different sectors. This is not just one sector specific. This is looking at the corporate space, it's looking at the charity sector, looking at the local authorities, but also universities as well. I think there's a lot of things that all of these different moving parts can do to put well-being, mental health at the top of the priority. I think a key example for me is looking at corporates and seeing how we can integrate employee satisfaction, but also employee well-being into the metrics of a successful company. It's all very well and good saying this company's done well because of X, Y, Z, but actually, are their staff happy? Is it a healthy and happy and great culture to work in? So I'd like to see a lot more of that in the corporate space, and that's certainly what I'm pushing for this year, with more workers working from home.
Well, Lewis Baxter seems to me to be a name to remember, and I hope you'll remember it too. Thanks so much, Lewis, for talking to me today. And if you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe.